Facts attacks. There's been endless debates and comparisons about the two best in the rap game, Tupac or Biggie. Did you know that before the whole East and West beef starts, Tupac and Biggie were actually friends? They even made 3 songs together: Let's Get It On, Running from the Police, House of Pain, and a live freestyle 95. It was on November 30th, 1994 at Quad Recording Studio in Manhattan where Tupac was robbed and shot 5 times. Before getting too deep in the subject, let's talk a bit about the rappers. First off, let's start with Tupac. His birth name was Lassane Parrish Crooks, and that name was changed by his mother when he was 1 year old to Tupac Amaru Shakur, inspired by Peruvian revolutionary Tupac Amaru. He was born on June 16, 1971, at Lassane Parrish Crooks, Harlem, New York. He died in Las Vegas September 13, 1996 when he was 25. He got married once with Keisha Morris when he was in prison. Tupac didn't start his career being a big thug rapper. Before all that begins, he was going to Baltimore School of Arts, where he took ballet classes. He also played the role of the Mouse King in The Nutcracker. He used to be a really big fan of Shakespeare. In 1990, Shakur started his entertainment career as a backup dancer for the Digital Underground. He played his first movie in 1991, Nothing But Trouble, as part of his dancing group. He played many more movies as a first starring role and co-starred like in Juice and Poetic Justice Above the Rim. Overall, Shakur was in 15 movies and biographical documentary. Tupac first started rapping during a teenage stint in Baltimore, going by the name of MC New York. His first official studio album was made in 1991, which was called Tupacalypse. He released 3 more albums, Strictly for My Niggas, Me Against the World, and All Eyes on Me, when he was alive. Tupac finished the album The Dawn of Killuminati in 7 days. 3 days to write and record the songs, and 4 days to mix and masterize them. But it was only released after he died. He had other posthumous studios albums like Are You Still Down, Remember Me, Until the End of Time, Better Days, Loyal to the Game, and Pac's Life. He has 1 collaboration album, Thug Life Volume 1, 1 posthumous collaboration album, Still I Rise with the Outlaws, and he has 14 compilation albums like Greatest Hits, The Lost Tapes, The Rose That Grew from the Concrete, and more. Tupac worked with 3 different labels: Interscope, Death Row, and his own label Machiavelli Outlaws. The name Machiavelli was inspired by the Renaissance Italian philosopher Niccolò Machiavelli, whose writing inspired Shakur in prison. When forming the Outlaws, Shakur gave his surrounding a name of a dictator or an enemy of America. Tupac is the first rapper to be on the Billboard 200 for best-selling record Me Against the World, while he was in prison. He sold 240,000 copies in the first week. Very impressive. Tupac had many conflicts with the outside world. Lawsuits, shootings, sexual assaults, and he went to prison in several months. The first lawsuit was claimed to Oakland PD by Shakur when they brutally beat him for jaywalking. He sued them for $10 million and got approximately $43,000 in settlement money. After the outdoor performance in Marin City, Tupac and his surrounding got into a confrontation. A 6-year-old boy got shot by accident while he was pedaling his bicycle at a school playground. The second shooting was in Atlanta. 2 off-duty cops were armed with non-registered stolen guns. Tupac shot both officers, one of them in the leg and the other one in the buttocks. Tupac was charged with the shooting, but prosecutors dropped all the charges against the parties. Tupac and others were charged for sexually assaulting a woman in a hotel room. He was sentenced in between 1 to 4.5 years in prison. After serving 9 months of his sentence, he was released due to a bailout by the influence of Suge Knight. In exchange, Tupac had to release 3 albums under Death Row's label. It was on the night of November 30th, 1994 when the East versus West war began. Tupac was robbed and shot 5 times by 3 men in the lobby of Quad Recording Studios in Manhattan. During the interview with b.i.g magazine, Tupac accused Sean Combs, Jimmy Hagman, and Biggie among others for the shooting setup. Later, evidence proved that Biggie was a part of the shooting. On September 7, 1996, while they were stopped at a red light in front of the Maxim Hotel, a white 4-door late model Cadillac with an unknown number of occupants pulled up to the car's right side. They rolled down the windows and rapidly fired gunshots at Shakur. He got shot 4 times, twice in the chest, once in the arm, and once in the thighs. On September 13, 1996, Shakur died from internal bleeding, and the last words that came out of his mouth was Machiavelli. Even though there was a lot of investigation and accusation about Tupac's death, we still don't know who was really behind that. Now let's talk a little bit about the notorious B.I.G. His birth name was Christopher George Latour Wallace, also known as Biggie Smalls and Big Papa. He was born in Brooklyn, New York, May 21st, 1972. He died March 9, 1997 in Los Angeles, California when he was 24-year-old. He was nicknamed B.I.G because of his overweight size by the age of 10. The acronym B.I.G itself used to stand for business instead of game. But since Biggie's ultimately dead, his foundation gave his name a new meaning: books instead of guns. Even though he got his name Biggie Smalls from his neighborhood friends, however, the name originated from a 1975 movie called Let's Do It Again. Big Papa initially has two kids, a daughter called Tiana, whom is born on August 8, 1993, and a son, Christopher Jr., whom is born on October 29, 1996. Christopher didn't start his journey being the Big Papa that everyone knows. Biggie grew up in the Clinton Hill section of Brooklyn. He went to the Queen of All Saints Middle School. He was more than good in class. He won even several awards as an English student. At one point, he even had dreams of becoming a graphic designer or even a dentist. At his request, Biggie was transferred to the state-funded George Westinghouse Career and Technical Education High School, which DMX, Jay-Z, and Busta Rhymes also attended at that time. Growing up, Biggie discovered his ability to write songs in his head and then freestyle them with ease. Biggie began rapping when he was a teenager. He entertained people on the streets and performed with local groups, the Old Gold Brothers, and the Techniques. After being released from jail, Wallace made a demo tape under the name Biggie Smalls. The demo tape was heard by Uptown Records A&R and record producer Sean Combs, and he got signed by them. Soon after signing his record contract, Sean Combs, also known as P. Diddy, was fired from Uptown and started a new label. Biggie followed him. He signed to Combs' new imprint label, which is known as Bad Boy Records. Later in the year, Wallace gained exposure on a remix to Mary J. Blige's single, Real Love, under the name of B.I.G. Notorious. He recorded under this name for the remainder of his career. His first album, Ready to Die, was released on September 13, 1994, and reached number 13 on the Billboard 200 chart. Eventually, he was certified 4 times platinum. He has 2 posthumous albums, Life After Death, which was released shortly after he died. In August 1995, Wallace's protege group, Junior Mafia, Junior Master at Fighting Intelligent Attitude, released their debut album Conspiracy. That was the only collaboration album he released with them. Their record singles, Player's Anthem and Get Money, both featuring Wallace, went gold and platinum. He has 3 compilation album duets, The Final Chapter, Greatest Hits, and the Notorious Original Motion Picture soundtrack. Biggie has a featuring track with Michael Jackson this time around. He also worked with Shaquille O'Neal on Still Can't Stop the Rain from the former NBA star third studio album. He ghost-wrote many of the lyrics for Lil' Kim. He even decided to start his own clothing line called Brooklyn Mint Inc. back in 1996 to cater to bigger man. The company relaunched by his mother is still up and running to this day. All of those achievements was made after he was released from jail. Now, let's find out how he got in jail. He began dealing drugs around the age of 12 and spent 9 months in North Carolina jail after he was arrested for selling crack at 17. Biggie dropped out of school and became further involved in crime. He was arrested on weapon charges in Brooklyn and sentenced to 5 years probation. Biggie was arrested in North Carolina for dealing crack cocaine. He spent 9 months in jail before getting bailed out. He pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 100 hours of community service for threatening to kill 2 autograph seekers. He was arrested at his home in New Jersey for drug and weapon possession charges. Biggie was ordered to pay $41,000 US in damages following an incident involving a dispute with a concert promoter. After the whole East and West friction, Shakur accused Biggie for setting up the shooting. There were no further investigation because Biggie and his crew were on the crime scene after their shooting occurred. Tupac released a diss song in which he claimed to have had sex with Biggie's wife and that Wallace copied his style and image. However, Wallace did not directly respond to the record, stating in a 1997 radio interview that it was not his style to respond. A few months after Tupac died, Biggie traveled to LA to promote his upcoming second studio album and shoot a music video for its lead single, Hypnotize. On March 9th, a dark Chevrolet pulled up alongside Biggie's SUV. The driver of the Impala, a black male dressed in a blue suit and bow tie, drew a 9mm and started shooting at Biggie. His entourage rushed him to a medical center, where doctors performed an emergency surgery, but he was pronounced dead at 1:15 a.m. Wallace's autopsy was released over a decade after his death. According to the report, 3 of the 4 shots were not even fatal. Biggie's death still remains unsolved to this day. Regardless of the beef in between the East and the West, we need to remember that these 2 legends were friends at some point. They were very smart and talented, not only in rap game but as individuals. Their songs are inspiring and they are role models to a lot of people, and they shall always be remembered. Did the Untouchables got touched? You think they would still be enemies if they were still alive? And also, do you think their influence would have changed the modern rap game? Please share your thoughts about these legends below. Have a good day, y'all.